If you're a new business selling products, or you're thinking of starting out, or you have been in business and you have been marketing on social media and it has not been working for you, then this is the right podcast for you. Join us today as we discuss how you can sell your products on social media. Hello, my name is Victoria, and with me is my co host,
Steve,
and this is the Marketing Matters podcast. So today we are discussing about how you can leverage on social media to sell your products, and how what is the best way in which you can ensure that you are able to meet your clients or to grow your following. So Steve,
hmm.
how has your week been? Just before we begin or we start discussing on our discussion today, or is there anything that you have learned this week that you can say, well, is something that will help grow yourself on your personal level or even business?
Well, it's actually interesting. This week I learned that we had set a goal last week about doing more podcasts and whatnot. What I learned this week was that um, I saw in one of our contacts that the New Year resolutions, 80% of people drop their New Year resolutions by February. So I was like, wow, I don't want to be
Necessary.
the 80%. So this year, not this year, this week, what I was learning about even myself was that there is a lot. There is a lot of mental effort I need to put into the goals that I've set, so that even as I say or we say we're going to do podcasts every week, or that I'm going to get better in marketing or in my analytics skill set, the mental aptitude that I need to have, which is every day put in the hours and say this morning 2 hours of learning this skill set, another in the evening maybe 1 or 2 hours of understanding the trends in the space. So at first it is so hard to build a habit, especially for things that are not considered fun. So learning how to continuously do that every day, not even every week, every day, is something that I'm really struggling with and I'm trying to work on. And for even our audience, what I learned, or what was an encouraging thing, was that I learned from one of these podcasts that I was listening to, from these people who have seem to have it figured out. But they were saying that when you are trying to learn a new habit, it's just one day at a time. And what this was specifically about physical fitness or learning a new skill. And you're saying, if you said you're going to do 2 hours of learning a skill set every week, and you've never done 2 hours of learning anything, you have to be a bit kind to yourself and say, today I'm going to do 30 minutes uninterrupted learning. Then the next day you do 30 minutes. The next day, the third day, you do maybe 45 minutes. For on the fourth day, you start saying, okay, I'll do 1 hour, but I'll have a break of 30 minutes each. So you can build on that. And you'll be surprised that by the third week, which is probably your 21 or 27th day, you will have at least built resilience for doing 1 hour. And then the next month, you set a target of now doing 1 hour uninterrupted, and then 1 hour that maybe has breaks after 30 minutes. Because also your mind has to adjust. That applies for workouts, that applies for learning a new skill, that applies for a prayer habit, and it applies for anything that you're trying to build. So learning to be patient with your growth, but understanding that consistency is built one step at a time, and not having these, sometimes you have this bad habit of, I failed today, so I'll start again next week. Yet it's Tuesday. Instead of saying, okay, I failed today, why did I fail? Actually, another thing he said, examine why you're failing. Sometimes you just fail, and you just decide, today I didn't wake up feeling well. Why didn't you wake up feeling well? Examine that, and doing small steps at a time to just try to build that habit. Because if you have never done something and you're trying to build a long-term habit, you have to first of all understand it will be hard, but do it gradually. And sure enough, that skill set, that body that you want to have, that attitude that you want to have about life, that discipline that you want to build will surely come. But you have to do it gradually and do it consistently. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's what I
think
learned.
that is true. That is true. Being overly ambitious is very good, but sometimes you have to be realistic at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah, so for me, I learned that it's all in the mind. Whatever you set to do, it's all in the mind. Like if you set to do something, you purpose to do it, then you'll be able to do it. This year, I had decided that anytime I put on I put anything on my diary and I said that I'm supposed to do this and complete a certain task, I have to ensure that before I go to bed, I complete that task.
Mm.
So this it was tested when I was going to do my content creation, and whatever I had planned to I always do short videos. So I had decided that I'm going to do videos on a certain day. I think it was on Thursday. So when I was creating the content, I realized that some of the content that I was creating were like past tense, like changing the technology is happening so fast, such that when you're going to create this content, you realize, oh, this one is no longer
Things are
valid to
advanced.
the users, or even if it is, it might not work for them maybe the near future. So I was so discouraged, and I'm like, maybe I need to think of another day where I can create content. Then I realized, no, I had decided that anytime I put tasks on my diary, I have to ensure that I complete. So I had to go research again afresh and create the content. And I was able to do it at the end of the day. So when you set your mind to do something, you'll be able to achieve. So that is a lesson that I learned. And I hope I'll be able to do it the whole of the year.
Yeah, we shall keep you honest.
Yeah, accountable. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we are going to discuss about how you can be able to sell your products
Mm.
on social media. And to just start us off, when you talk about social media, we know we are mentioning platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Those are the main social media platforms that we are talking about. So there are different things that you will have to consider, different things that you'll have to think about when you are creating content on when you're selling on the social media platforms. Now, today that is our main focus, and we are going to look at a number of things. Some of them, if you've been in business, probably you have been doing, and some you can still be able to implement because there's no end goal on these social media platforms. There's always something that you can be able to do to grow your following or to be able to make more sales. And at the end of the day, as businesses, we are looking on how can we be able to generate more income or more revenue on this platform. So anything you learn on a daily basis or any day that you're on Marketing Matters podcast, I assure you that is something that you can be able to implement because us, even as a business, we are implementing them on a daily basis and we are applying because we also have a business that we are running. So you're going to benefit because it's something that you have tested and it's working. So, Steve, you can start us off. What do you think will be one of the things that we need to do, even as we're selling our products online?
I think it's pretty obvious for any person who is selling a service or a product that first of all you need to know who you're selling to. Whether you are, and when I say know who you're selling to is what solution or what problem are you solving and who is it solving, who are you solving it for, because what you think is a solution for one person can be a problem for another person. So assuming you are trying to sell, I like using examples because it drives the point home. So assuming you are selling stuff, baby items, maybe for young newborns, or you have a shop that you're trying to sell products for newborn, or you're even offering advice for newborn mothers. Maybe that you're a YouTuber or you're an influencer or a content creator. Let's call you that. So the question should would be then, who is your audience? So one can decide that my audience is this is I'm using the same example for the newborn mother shop and the newborn mother content creator. By the way, Vicky also sells this newborn mother stuff. You can look at her page. It's www.ashakids.com and even go to her page, Asha Kids. But that's beside the point. Back to the to the example. So you're selling products for newborn mothers, which is probably those newborn mother products, and you need to understand or you need to appreciate your audience. Now, one can decide that their audience is newborn mothers, One can decide that their audience is existing mothers who probably are having additional newborns. One can decide their audience is fathers, because who's to say that only women are the ones who buy products? So one can, based on your experience or based on on the type of product you're selling, you can decide to only target to be selling or appealing to men who based on how you will put your content will share with their wives. Because I think what we've learned in our experience is it is very hard to pigeonhole people into one space where you're saying men don't consume content for this type of content because maybe it's not masculine. You'd be surprised that a man who is going to be a new father goes to pages of people who are talking about how to be a new father or mother so that he or he can share the content with his wife. So understanding your audience and being clear so that when somebody comes and tells you that you know me, I only if you're selling, if you're a newborn creator, content creator, you need to only appeal to women, you can actually argue against that and say, okay, no, I'm a newborn content creator, but I'm going to appeal to the men. So that now what that means is if you the content that you're going to be putting out there will be targeted at men for women, so that you're telling them how what are actually the things that go on to a mother who is a newborn, so that that person can be a supportive partner, or the
Yeah.
ideas to gift her as she gets into a into as she delivers her child, whether it's a boy, whether it's a girl. Or can also always also be appealing to the friends of the family, so that if I am a guy and I am looking for a gift idea for my friend who has given her, but I don't want to start going and start wondering how do I do that. If you have a blog or if you have a content, chances are I'll search gift ideas for newborn mothers. That does not mean that I am a woman who is searching for that content. So if I find content that is relevant to me as a guy that can give that, and again, if it's a shop and you have maybe a section for that can guide me on what to do, then that will guide on your structure. But always be clear about your audience. And if you are sure about your audience, or if you have experience about maybe you're going online for the first time, but your audience has been predominantly male, then chances are, or it is a prudent strategy to start with that even as you grow to another audience. So understand who you're selling your product to and what solution you're offering to them, so that
Yeah.
sometimes the demographic or the person you're selling the product to determines how you're going to communicate your solution. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. And even just as you mentioned, when you have an existing audience, for example, you already have a physical shop and you have been selling using offline means, that is having walk-in customers to buy your product or service, then probably you understand your existing audience. Or even if you don't, you can look at the uh, customers who have already visited your shop and you try to analyze them. If you're to use the same example as of the baby shop, you can look at the audience. Am I getting more male customers or female customers? Am I getting people who come as a couple? Who's paying the bills? So you can be able to understand your existing audience. If you don't have, or you're just starting out, or you don't have you have a shop that you've just opened, so probably maybe you don't have an existing audience, then you can create an avatar. You think about, who do I want to reach out to, as in, is this person, do I want to reach out to mothers only, do I want to reach out to expectant mothers, or what is my focus, so that you can create an avatar that will guide you to know on your target audience. Because now when you know your target audience, then you'll be able to know which platform you're going to focus on. Now, even as you look at your target audience, something else that you also need to be guided on is, we are talking about social media platform, which is very wide and it has a very large geographical location. But you could only be focusing to a certain country, or could only be focusing to a certain region. So that is also something that will guide you on your target audience. So when you understand your target audience, and then you're able to know, now this platform is the platform that I would want to use to be able to market my product. So that is a very good point, Steve. I think for me, the second one that we'll also look at is optimizing your profile. Now, when you've already selected, this is the platform I'm going to use, ensure that you just don't go on that platform and put the name and then you start running. Fill in the details that you're required to fill on those profiles on your on the platform. If you're supposed to fill in the name, you're supposed to fill in the bio. That is, you give a brief description of what you do, because especially when you look at social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, when someone has already gotten maybe a post, or happen to see your post or your video, then you will see some of them coming to your profile to see who are you. So when they come to your profile to see who are you, did you fill those details? So it's good to fill your profile details to optimize, to ensure that when someone comes there, they're able to know who you are. So you fill the name, the bio, where you located, and if they come to your profile and they get your information, what do they do next? Do they have links that they can be able to go to? Maybe you have an e-commerce that is existing. Do you have a link that links them to the e-commerce to be able to see more products? So you'll need to have your profile well optimized. I've had customers who would ask me after they get one product, then they'll ask me, "Do you have a website, or do you have somewhere that I can go to shop or to see the other products that you're selling?" So you need to have links that will direct them to such areas.
Mm, okay, yeah, good. In fact, I would say for me, optimizing your content is good. But for me, another step or another thing that should be take priority even before you optimize your profile would be to first choose the channel. And I would say that from personal experience, and what I would guide any person who is struggling with trying to sell a product online is you don't have to be on all platforms. I know we always say that you have to people different audiences are on different platforms, but the same audience is usually on all platforms. Okay, some people have a bias for one platform, but most of the time they have that most users, most customers, most of your customers will be on either 2 to 3 platforms. Even some are on all. So choosing a platform is key. And I would say if you're starting off, choose a platform that you're most comfortable with first. Because when a platform that you're most comfortable with first, it won't be such a chore to go and post content on that platform because you know how that content works. You probably even understand what is the attitudes on that platform. Like if you are very conversant or you're very comfortable with TikTok, it doesn't make sense for you to start a business and post on X. Because first of all, X will feel very strange to you. You will not know how to relate to the audience on X, and you will not know how to structure your content on X. Because a person who is posting content on TikTok, the attitudes on TikTok are different. The expectations for the audience on TikTok are different. And probably maybe we
Yeah.
can talk about even the type of content you post. But if you're posting, if you're comfortable with TikTok as your audience, it doesn't matter. You can actually even sell houses on TikTok. It doesn't. What people imagine is that I can't sell I can't sell a product for a different audience. You can even advertise jobs on TikTok. You don't have to be on LinkedIn. Of course, LinkedIn would be better for a person who is trying to get experts in a different field. But it is possible for whatever product or service that you're offering with to work with the platform that first of all you're most comfortable with. I would advise at minimum be on 2 platforms. You can be on TikTok and
Yeah.
IG. You can be on X and IG. You can be on X and whatever combination works for you. Just have a minimum of presence in at least 2 platforms. Then work on building that profile that Vicky has talked about in those platforms. And then when you're comfortable or when you have built a community, you can now slowly by and gradually start now developing a profile or an audience and building a community in
Yeah.
another platform. But a platform, choosing a platform is always good. And the rule of thumb is work with a platform that first of all you like using, because there's no point of you always being on X and then trying to sell a product on LinkedIn. It goes against even your instinct as a business, and you will struggle doing that because you'll be going every time you want to post content. You'll have to, like, it's like you're restructuring your mind to think on how to post on LinkedIn. And yet possibly because you get entertainment or you get value on X, it will be the best place for you to start building or continue growing your brand if you already have an existing brand on those platforms.
Yeah, it's so true, because when you post, you choose a platform that you already understand or you're familiar with, and you're always staying on that platform, you are able to learn even which content people are are aligning to at that particular time. You're able to see even how your content is performing and what to improve. You'll be able to know how to utilize the platform to ensure that the content that you're creating on that platform is working for you. So it's very true that the platform you select should be the one that you're familiar with. Now, something else that another point that I think, even as you're thinking of selling on social media, is you utilize the shopping features. If you have an e-commerce shop already, that is a very good thing that you good. It's a very good tool that you need to implement in your business. But if in case you're starting out and you don't have an e-commerce shop existing, then you can be able to utilize the ones that are existing on the different social media platforms. You can, if you have an e-commerce shop, first of all, you can integrate it to the different platforms like Facebook and Instagram. If you don't, then you can add like Facebook. Instagram has an option where you can have the Instagram shop. TikTok introduced also that feature where you can create a TikTok shop. This will allow people to be able to view your photos or your videos and increasing your chances of them making decision and deciding to buy your product on the platform. And even if as you create your content, you can also be able to tag the product from the product on the shop that you have created on your post or even stories. When you tag that product or on the post or story, someone can click on the product and be able to purchase your product. So it's good to utilize the features that have been integrated on the platforms to benefit from them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And if you need assistance or you need support on how to make that happen, of course, we're here to help you. Just share your contacts on the comment section and hit us up, or visit our website at www.ashagrouplimited.com for further guidance, especially trying to integrate your online shop or trying to get your online shop to work for you on whatever platform you are. Some people didn't might not be aware that all those platforms would support your integration to whatever shop you have. I think also, just to tie on to that, I think another thing that I would say, even as you curate your your content to have those linkages to your online platform. Content matters, and content, especially if you're trying to grow organically, relevance of your content is very important. So when you're trying to sell a product online, try to present yourself, or aim to present yourself, as a subject matter expert in that area. And what does that mean? Like, if you're on TikTok and you're selling, uh, again, I'll use that example of newborn items. If the content on your platform is always about newborn items, but there is nothing that tells me that you are not selling this product because it's the only business you could be able to sell, that would affect your credibility, as opposed to a person who is giving even advice on newborn mothers, on the type, assuming you're selling diapers. If I come to your profile or to your page, again, I'll use TikTok because that's what most of you are probably thinking as starting off with. Is I come to your page, or I interact with your profile, and the videos I see are just, you can get Pampers at, maybe for this age, 999 shillings. Another one, you can get this other Pampers at 600 shillings. If there is no content that tells me why, as a newborn mother, I should buy Huggies and not soft care, then there is a problem. Because first of all, I don't even know again, understanding that audience, most of them don't even fully know what type of product would work for them. So part of your
Yeah.
content, even as you try to link them to your shop or to try to get sales, you need to be an authority in that space. You can tell women, maybe, if this is your first time, you can never go wrong with probably Huggies, or you can never go wrong with soft care. Or tell them why is even Huggies maybe three times the value of a product you're trying to sell, because you could be selling a mass market product and maybe Huggies is a niche. You can tell them you can buy niche, you can buy Huggies, or you can buy Pampers, or you can also buy soft care. My experience has been people love that. My experience has been, do you can get one or two things from this, and probably it will not work for you. Always have that disclaimer. Something I've learned on social media, always have a disclaimer. It might not work for you, but for majority of my customers, soft care works for them, and soft care is maybe 60% cheaper than this one. You can even urge them, you can even buy one I don't know if you can call it one packet. You can even buy and try it on your child. If it doesn't work, you have nothing to lose. But if it works, you have probably saved, based on your experience, you will have probably saved maybe 3,000 that you can now transfer to another product. And then you can have, if you want more information or more stuff, then you have that link. So content matters. On the content discussion, content matters per platform, or content type matters per platform, so that the story you've given about my experience has been blah blah blah, soft care is better than Huggies, or Huggies is better than soft care. That would work for TikTok. If you're going on X, you probably would, your video would not work, because X is has a bias for threads. There is videos, but people on X largely read content. So what would be then for what would work for X, for TikTok, is you can convert that video into a into text, is
A post
audio
or a
into
carousel.
text, it can be a carousel, or we can even convert it into a thread, again using the AI tools. Like we always emphasize, AI is here to stay, and and AI is here to help you. So you can have your video converted into a text, of course, editing one or two things, and it can be, the title can be my experience with Pampas, and then you start, that thread shows your story. People will love those things. They will eat
Yeah.
they will eat at your palm on X, and you'll see a lot of comments, people saying my experience has been this. Another thing you also have to understand on different platforms is comment sections work differently on different platforms. So comment section for X can be full of banter, it can be full of negativity, it can be full of contrary opinion. On TikTok it might be different, on LinkedIn it might be different. So also be aware of that. But point is, have content relevant to a platform. Video content almost works for almost all platforms except X and LinkedIn. Those platforms, for some reason, just have a bias for long form text. So if you are choosing those platforms, you also need to be aware. But remember that even as you go to that platform, whether it's text or video, remember to always speak to the people you know you are supposed to speak to. Don't try to appeal to everyone, because when you try to do that, then you'll always be worried about what people are going to do on the comment section. And if you're worried about that, you will never sell. So I would say, if you're doing it on a video platform, look or present yourself as a subject matter expert, and then sell your product later. Is what people I see fail is, people, unless you're selling a product that maybe is trending, people maybe are, there's a time last year, I remember, people wanted to buy shirts for, those political issues. It was trending. You could sell a shirt without having to present yourself as a subject matter expert. But if you're selling a product like I said, that those what are they called, Pampers, for newborn mothers, they're being sold everywhere, but you want to stand out, and you stand out by being an authority, and your authority matters when you create a story, or some level of authenticity. Again, even as I end, content, what we've learned in our industry, or we've learned in our experience, is some form of storytelling in your content always pulls people in. Even if they won't buy, it creates the impression that your brand is popular. So storytelling, because people come to social media to have fun, but also to be relatable, to feel like the person selling their product understands their current situation, or their current concerns. Yeah.
Yeah, those are very good insights. I was even just, my mind was thinking about an idea just came even as you were talking, and I've even just written it down. So those are very good insights. Yeah,
I thought
that
it's
I
an
can
idea
share.
for this.
My competitor can grasp it.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So
You will tell us when you
when we talk
implement
about,
it.
yeah, I'll tell you when I implement, or I just even share offline.
Yes.
Anyway, so when you talk about content creation, yeah, it's very, that is now what one of the key things that you need to do, especially for you to ensure that you're continuing to communicate with your audience or your potential customers. You need to create content. You can't just have a platform. You have joined. You have added your you're filling their profile, and then you wait for customers. You have to at least create content, and of course, just as you've mentioned, the content of course have to be quality content. When you talk about quality content, it means content that you're giving value to your users. Either you're talking about why someone needs to purchase your product, what the benefits of your product. You talk about something that is beneficial uh, to your audience, and you have you can also research on different content ideas that you can use to create your content depending on the product that you're selling, because you can't just be having posting a product on a daily basis. At least you need to twist your content to have variations of content ideas that you can use. Either you can create content when you're showing that customers have bought the product from you, or you can use user generated content. Customers take photos of of them putting on, if you're selling maybe clothes, of them putting on the clothes that they bought from you. Or you can use your staff to be able to create content of, if something, if it's a product that requires packaging, them showing the audience when they are packaging the product. So having different content ideas will also ensure that you remain consistent on the platform, on the different platforms. And not only focusing on one type of content. Like if you're sharing videos, you cannot have a mix. Do posters, do videos, do carousel. Like just have different content mix. This will help your customers not to tire when they are looking at your content. This one always, just, especially if you're selling a product that doesn't have so many variations. So your client just always sees this kind of product, they get tired. But now when you have a twist, today you did a video, tomorrow you did a poster, that can really help your client to be, or your potential customers or your followers to be engaged with your content. Then of course, if you're creating content, as Steve has mentioned, at least be on 2 to 3 platforms. So when you create content, like for example for TikTok, it is good to repurpose the content to the other platforms. This will ensure that at least all the platforms are active and running. So even as we talk about the content, when you're creating content and your content is engaging, people will communicate with you. People will go to the comment section, they will respond. Or when they respond to you, what do you do? Ensure that you are engaging with your audience. Don't just leave the comment to say for a week before you respond. Or if the comment was not someone asking how much is the product, then you feel like this is a waste of time.
Mhm.
What is this person asking me? No,
I've put it
ensure
in
at
the
least you,
video.
yeah. Put it in the video. My contact is there. Why are you asking for my,
Mm.
like, you get so tired. Yes, not everyone is in walks through the whole video that you've posted on the platform, or even just people post, but no, normal human beings will still want to ask to feel if you're engaging with them. That's also another way to just have a good customer service. So ensure that at least you're responding to the comments, and questions that are asked on the comments that feel requires an elaborate answer a frequent create a frequently asked question on the platform, like Facebook allows that on the messenger, or create answer the questions via video or a poster for you to be able to reach audiences that are not finding it free to comment, but they have the questions in their mind. So it allows you to be able to generate more content by responding to the frequently asked questions. And of course, you can create content that allows your audience to engage with you. For example, you can say, you can create a poll, or you can ask a question that will make someone be able to, or someone to be interested. Like, I bought, when you buy this product, did you like it? Or, giving people a prompt for them to be able to respond to you. Did you like this video? Something like that. Or you give a comparison, like when you're talking about Huggies and Pampers, which product do you prefer? If you have hi mothers, you have used this product. Which one do you prefer? So people give different responses. So it allows your audience to automatically engage with you, increasing the chances of them following you and also eventually buying your product.
Yeah, that's good. On the engaging your content, I would say engaging your audience, or being seen to engage your audience on the social media platforms is always a good thing, because it adds credibility, first of all, to your business, that you're not an influencer, or you're not just selling a product. But it also helps the people who come. There are some people like me who, before they buy, sometimes go through the comment section to see if a question I had in mind has been answered, or how is
Yeah,
this person answering this query, because
yeah.
sometimes it gives you a view of the person you shall be dealing with. And as most of us don't like dealing with the person who appears to be rude. I would just add that while we say, while it is encouraged that you answer questions, also be have apply some wisdom on the type of questions you answer. There are people who just come to banter you and they're saying Huggies didn't work for me, and it's like, you can just be like, okay, it has worked for some people and it won't work, it won't, like I said, you can even say, like I said in the video, it won't always work for everyone, but for a majority of my customers, always emphasize that it's your experience, it's not that you are claiming that that is it always works for everyone. Try to answer that. And some that are very negative, sometimes you just ignore. You don't have to answer everyone. Answer especially because people will some people come with their frustrations and they'll put them on the comment section, and it's some of these platforms like X, you can't hide them. They'll be there for
Yeah.
everyone. But people, the minority of the people have those negative issues, and some people, it can be even your competitors coming to create an impression that your product is bad. But majority of the people who go through comment section are able to decipher the negative ones from the useful ones. So if I find a comment section that's like, she's lying, software doesn't work, I can perceive it as just negative bashing. But if I find a comment that was asking, what would you recommend for a newborn mother maybe who has allergies, and you didn't respond to that, that is a bit, that can be a red flag. Or I was
Yeah.
asking, but what about your pricing seems a bit high or too low, because also that can create concern to people. Why are you selling a product that
Yeah.
people know is expensive? What makes your product this cheap? And you can maybe, if you don't respond to that, then a person who is trying to get to know more about your business can see it as a red flag. So you always want to make sure that people, you remember, the people who come on social media, most of the time you get a conversion to a client in different ways. It can be through the video, it can be through the way you presented yourself, it can be through the pricing, but it can also be through how you are comment section look like. And another thing that we've also learned is, when engaging with the audience, we don't mean just engaging with them on socials. Engaging with the audience can be engaging with them offline. So if somebody maybe you ask for people to share their contacts, you can use that channel to engage with them. If somebody has asked for is seems to be more interested, you can take their number in the DMs. Of course, don't publicize people's numbers or personal information online, and engage them online. Another way to engage with your audience is not only before you sell, even after you sell. You can engage your audience and ask them, by the way, how did this, again, I'll use a simple example, how did soft care work for you? So that allows you to not only be perceived by the customer like you actually care about the product you're selling, but also it gives you more data, so that even as you sell more, you can now learn, why did it not work for this customer, or why did it work? And that allows that customer to feel like they can trust you to come back to buy you more products.
Or
So
which
engage with
product
them
should I
online.
sell more? Yeah.
Yes, you can actually, you create now that a repeat customer. So engage with them online, but also remember to always follow up with your customers who now actually convert to sell. And you can follow up with them. It doesn't have to be a call. You can follow up with them through text. You can follow up with them through email. You can follow up with them through having every card or every package that you sell or a product that you sell, having a way for them to actually engage you through your socials and providing your details. So always follow up with them digitally, but also follow up with them offline, because offline is almost a sure way of ensuring you have a repeat customer. When you have no personal, what people forget with social, and what maybe it is a folly of social media, it creates a view to people that non-personal relationships don't matter anymore. But when you're selling a product or you're selling a service, I think any of you who is watching this understands that even as you get customers through digital channels, personal relationships matter, especially if you want to retain customers. And another tip I'll tell you, people who are selling products, it is more expensive to acquire new customers than it is to retain. So your strategy
Yeah.
should always be, how do I retain this customer who bought Pampers, so that when she's trying now to buy clothes for a child, she just thinks of me, as opposed to, how do I create new audiences or new people coming to buy Pampers every other
Yeah.
time. So that is something new. But I think I can. It also brings me now, ties into this other issue about um, getting your product out there. You have to get your products out there, and you can get them through two ways. The hardest way and the most rewarding way is building a profile. Remember, we said you build a profile that is relevant, and then when you after you build that profile, of you've chosen a platform, you're building a profile, and then you've created credibility, so you can build a brand. One thing people underestimate when they're building businesses is a brand. when you hear that person in downtown River Road or downtown Kamukunji, when they know that they have these customers who will come to them, even if they're not digital, that is because they have created something we call a brand. And a brand is basically you've created trust with the customer. People trust you enough to always come to you, even as there are other alternatives. So when you want to sell or to sell long term or sell well organically, you have to create a brand, and that takes time. You don't start selling pampers today and tomorrow everybody is coming to buy from you. But when you create a brand, you get partnership deals. You realize that maybe you create a following that pampers is like, okay, we shall give your audiences a discount because you've created a brand. So always work towards creating a brand, and that is the first way to actually sell, which is now long term and organic. We call it organic selling, but basically we just mean create a brand. And you create a brand by being credible and being an authority in an industry. The next way, which most people prefer, and even what most platforms will push you to do, is to do adverts. Now that the adverts can work, you can create a brand and do adverts at the same time. Right
Yeah.
now, it is easier to do adverts than it is to create a brand because there is so much noise on social media. TikTok can allow you to rise to fame one day. The next day, somebody else has done the same thing with a small twist, and
Yeah.
they have also. So creating a brand is hard, but always pursue to do the hard things, which is to do, especially when you want to grow long term. Unless you're doing this Pampers thing as a gig, if you want to be a generational business, you have to create a brand. You can never escape creating a brand. And then the second thing, which then you have to do with this age, have a always have a budget for ads. You don't have to start with 50K, 10K, 100K. You can even start with saying, let me experiment this by just trying to boost my profile, and you do 1,000. It is possible to actually, people don't know how cheap it is to actually gain followers on social media. So when you see somebody with 1 million followers, probably some of them have bought those followers through ads. So you can create an ad to just for a specific target, and that's the beauty also with social media. When you're doing an ad on the traditional formats, you cannot decide what you're doing. You will be selling yourself, you will be selling the product, you will be selling the person selling the product. But with digital media, it allows you to create an ad to a specific objective. It can be to grow your profile. You can advertise for that. It can be to sell one product out of the 10 you're selling. You can advertise for that. It can be to just get people to engage with you. You can sell for that. It can be just to just even get a view of what the industry or what the type of business you're selling, what type of engagements you can sell for that. So it is possible with social media to sell or to create an ad that fits an objective that is unique to you. Of course, these are broad categories of objectives, but it is easier to do that digitally than it is to do online. You can even boost a survey to your existing audiences to just see how do they interact with the product. So engage as you're engaging with your audience, or as you're creating a brand. Always understand that there are two ways to grow digitally, which is either organically, and that is through creating a brand, and understand that will take time, or
Yeah.
do ads, and then do ads. And then another thing with ads, you don't do, if you start doing ads, remember you have to sustain those ads, because the social media platforms also have this thing that most people don't know. When you start doing ads on a social media platform and you stop, even your reach goes down, because they are now used to you creating a value for them through those ads. So you have to either build a brand or do the ads, or do now what we'd recommend, a blend of both. But as you're beginning, the best thing is, first of all, build an authority. We can say, I would recommend at most just take 3 months to learn a platform, especially if you're starting afresh. 3 months to learn a platform, doing the content that Vicky has recommended regularly, and then after 3 months, 3 to 6 months, at least do your first ad, and then slowly by slowly build. But always, when you start doing ads, remember to always do consistently, and
Yeah.
and build your investment into ads. When you can never do an ad. Maybe you're doing a 500 shilling ad every month or every week. You can't do that for 5 years. You have also to scale up because hopefully you shall also be learning things, and you realize, maybe I need to target better, I need to change my objectives, I need to do more frequent ads, I need to do it at this specific time. But ads are relevant in this new day and age for social media growth.
Yeah, it's so true. We had, I think when you can check one of our videos, there's a video that we did about the difference between organic and paid traffic or content that will guide you on what Steve is just sharing about paid and like we need both. So you'll just
Mm.
create time to uh, watch the video. The link will be in the description. And yeah, just even as you've mentioned about the content creation, yes, when you're doing an organic post, that is post that you are not doing any promotion, then most social media platforms allow only less than 5%. Let me just do 5%, but some of them are as low as 1% to 2% of your users or followers to view the post that you've shared.
Mm.
So you can imagine if you have, let's say, 10,000, 1% of it, of those users are the ones who will be able to view your post or video. So that already tells you that for you to be able to make get more leads on the platform, you need to advertise. You can't escape this route of advertising. Again, those all these social media platforms at the end of the day, they need to generate revenue and they look at businesses. So if you have joined in as a business, then be sure that they are looking at you and waiting for when you start giving them the money. So advertising works. Ensure even as you are looking at doing the adverts on the platform, just ensure that you are doing targeted ads. You're focusing on the people who are most probably going to buy your product or service. And by this, I mean you can either use the targeting options when you're doing the adverts. There are settings that you can include, or even the creation, the creative ad that you put. You need to ensure that the creative ad is clear enough to reach the right audience. When someone reads your post, they'll be able to know if they're relating with what you've posted or not. So ensuring that your creative ad is very specific to your audience. There you can include you can set the different preferences and the different behaviors and the different geographical the demographics that you'll want to reach, especially on Meta, that gives you all those features, but even on the other platforms. And then, of course, even as you're doing your ads, you can decide one way is to be able to drive in more leads or people to be convinced to buy from you apart from the great creatives, issue discounts, look for other ways in which you can. Because again, as we have mentioned, most people have thought of how to grow their business on the platform. So, meaning that even businesses are doing the ads that we are talking about. So, how do you ensure that you are still able to capture the audience who will be convinced to buy your product or service? You can issue a discount, you can issue offers that will give or convince your customers to buy from you. So, those are different ways in which you can be able to leverage on ads. As Steve has mentioned about the budget, you can set a budget as low as I think it's $1 a day. So depending on the country you're in, so you can do it. But just know that even as you do, the lower the budget, the lower the leads. The
Reach.
higher the budget, the higher the leads. So the higher the reach. So just ensure that the budget you have put makes sense. But one tip that I would also want the audience to know that even as you set your budget, it is always good to start by testing your adverts to see what works, what does not work. So you can create a small budget to test your advert, and then what will work is what you will maximize. Yeah. So those are the major uh, basic and a must have features or ideas that you can implement when you're starting out or when you're just when you want to sell on social media. And one thing that I know most people don't implement is focusing on how you can be able to drive the contacts away from the social media platform. We have had scenarios, and you can even go search on the online space. Sometimes you do adverts, sometimes you do posts, and they are rejected by the social media platform. Sometimes you do not, you have to read the policies, of course, but sometimes the policies you have read through and you're not understanding why you have been blocked or you have been disbanded from the platform. So it's always good to have at least your contacts driven away from the platform because anytime this social media platform, anything can happen. We have just had recent news that TikTok was banned and now they are trying to reinstate it. But again, you're still living in you are not, it's not certain on how you'll be able to access your platform. You have built your following, yes, you have built your audience, but if you're able to drive people away from the platform, that will really help you, because you can still be able, first of all, to follow them up. If a customer bought from you, then the next time you will not advertise for you to get the same customer. You can still be able to follow them up organically using the contact that they've shared. Either it was it through WhatsApp, was it through the call they made, was it through an SMS? If it was an email, are you, was it through uh, an email that they shared? So that allows you to be able to do more future follow-ups, making you to have return customers, making you build. You can even sell from to them, to tell them, if you bring to us a customer, we'll give you a discount on this. So you'll be able to market without doing any promotion ads to the same customers, because these are already people who have engaged with you and they were willing to share their contacts with you. So just ensure that even as you work on building your social media, the following, the audience, and getting leads, just ensure that you're able to drive as much people away from the platform as possible.
Yeah, that's true.
This was an insightful discussion. It was very elaborate. I also learned something. Did you like anything? Did you get anything that you would want to implement in your as you start out, or even as you're continuing to work on a social media platform? Remember to comment on the comment section. Otherwise, like, subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.